one point in Jesus' ministry, he was approached by Pharisees and Sadducees who came to test him. They asked him for a sign from heaven, but Jesus responded sharply. Why? Weren't the people of Israel told in Deuteronomy to test their prophets? Here's the issue. After 400 years without a prophet in Israel, Jesus came performing miracles and wonders. He didn't teach people to follow other gods. He called them to turn from hypocrisy and obey the God of Israel. Yet, they demanded proof of his authority. Now let's take a closer look at signs in the Bible. What is their purpose? And why did Jesus speak of Jonah as a sign? Signs in Scripture work like road signs. They point to something ahead. For example, a stop sign ahead prepares you for what's coming. Similarly, biblical signs point toward a future event of truths. Take John the Baptist as an example. When he was in prison, he sent his disciples to ask Jesus, "Are you the one who is to come, or should we wait for another?" John expected the Messiah, the son of David, to restore Israel's sovereignty. But instead of directly saying, "I am the Messiah," Jesus responded by performing miracles, signs that spoke for themselves. John's disciples would recognize them because they knew the prophecies. The Pharisees and Sadducees also knew these prophecies, but Jesus called them an evil and adulterous generation because they refused to be faithful to the scriptures. So, he promised them one sign, the sign of Jonah. Jonah's story was a shadow of things to come, meant to help people recognize the truth when it happened. Now, let's revisit Jonah's story. Most people think Jonah was thrown off a ship, swallowed by a whale, and spent 3 days alive in its belly. But there's only one problem. That's not what actually happened. If Jesus compared Jonah's experience to his own, where he would be dead for 3 days, how could Jonah have been alive? Let's look at Jonah's prayer in chapter 2. It says, "I called to the Lord in my distress, and he answered me. I cried out for help from deep inside Sheol. You heard my voice." Notice that Jonah says he called out from Sheol, the realm of the dead. "And I said, I have been banished from your sight. Yet, I will look once more toward your holy temple. The water engulfed me up to the neck. The watery depths overcame me. Seaweed was wrapped around my head. I sank to the foundations of the mountains. The earth's gates shut behind me forever. Then you raised my life from the pit, Lord my God. As my life was fading away, I remembered the Lord, and my prayer came to you, to your holy temple." I just want to note here that Jonah did not die in disobedience and prayed himself out of hell. Rather, right before he died, he repented and called out to the Lord in the same way that the thief at the cross repented moments before he died and recognized Jesus as the Messiah. This is a story that's a powerful picture of God's plan to redeem humanity through Jesus Christ. Jonah's experience wasn't just about being swallowed by a big fish. It symbolized death and resurrection. That's why Jesus called it the sign of Jonah. Jonah's story pointed forward to Jesus' own death, burial, and resurrection, showing how God would bring life from death. In our next video, we'll explore even more incredible connections between Jonah and Jesus. We'll answer questions like, why did God use a fish? Was it really a whale? And why did Jesus take 3 days to rise? Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. See you next time.